أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today's topic, inshallah, I'm going to be discussing basically the collaboration that Muslim organizations or Muslim groups here in America do with the FBI. But before I start, I want to take a snippet from a rap song by Nas titled Snitch Alibi. It goes something like this. To the snitch alibi, I can't tell. I know you gon' tell. I know you know well. On the block plotting us while we make our mill. I know you is fed up, eat fed cereal, fed lies work for the Federal Bureau. Man, you're a loser or zero. J. Edgar Hoover's your hero. Therefore, you lack brain like a scarecrow. Thought this was interesting because I can't tell you what, when I was growing up, that the worst thing you could be or the worst thing a person could be called was really a snitch. A person with this quality was the most hated person in school or in the school that I went to. I mean, this person's personality was composed of being weak, afraid, a coward, a wimp, basically a total loser. I guess if you fast forward a few years, there are professions on the FBI site under the jobs category as a snitch or an informant, where you can make a six-figure salaries with full benefits without having a college degree or a high school diploma, or any technical skills whatsoever. A position that seems to be vacant, especially against the Muslim community in today's world. These positions are probably on the list of job creations the government advocates in regards to the health of the economy. Enough with the sarcasm. I'm not here today looking to employ or hire snitches, informants, or rats, nor am I from the Federal Bureau. Rather, I'm here today to discuss how leaders or organizations from the Muslim community openly collaborate with the FBI. And what we need to do is raise awareness amongst Muslims and non-Muslims to understand how this relationship or collaboration really helped the FBI target more Muslims and really help create more fear and add fuel to this Islamophobic rhetoric. From there, we will try to understand why Muslim leaders would advocate or even suggest this type of relationship, as well as looking into whether this cooperation is helpful or harmful for the Muslim community. In addition, I want to take a look into what the Muslims should do as well as individuals and even as a community, especially when all the blame for today's problems are pointed at us. So, there are several Muslim organizations in America that deal with what is called civic engagements, which are associated with addressing the public's concerns in regards to Islam or Muslims. These same organizations are promoted for being the leadership of Muslims in America and are recognized by the government in regards to helping with combating terrorism and extremism. The first group is known as CARE, which stands for the Council of American Islamic Relations. CARE is depicted on their own website, basically setting up meetings with FBI representatives since October of 1998. CARE also participates in monthly meetings with police departments such as the NYPD in order to build trust, voice concerns, and improving law enforcement. I mean, the same NYPD that openly spied on Muslims where intelligence was collected without any due process, subpoenas, or search warrants. In addition, CARE had meetings with the Custom and Border Patrol, and as well as even DHS, basically giving them advice on even Hajj travelers. Like, if you find Hajj travelers that are not familiar with the groups they're traveling with, yeah, have them get searched again or give them additional screenings. I mean, furthermore, there's Robert Mueller. He was a director of the FBI from, I believe it's 2001 to 2013. It's acknowledged on CARE's website that they openly work together. There's an open collaboration between the organization and the Bureau. Basically, CARE itself it's on their website. All this stuff is about us on their site. You can go and read it, Google it, whatever you want to do. CARE itself is utilized as a bridge between the law enforcement and the Muslim community. The irony here is that this CARE's mutual relationship with the law enforcement seems to be helping in regards to spying on Muslims, informants, and FBI entrapment programs. I mean, CARE itself dealt with a case back in 2006 at the Irvin Islamic Center, where an individual posing as a new convert would have discussions of a jihad and plans for a terrorist attack. Kia reported him to the local authorities, and it was known later that this same person was actually an FBI informant trying to set people up and incite terrorism. Uh, Another organization is known by MPAC, which one of the brothers mentioned before, basically Muslim Public Affairs Council. They openly confirm working with the FBI field officers as well as encourage Muslims to do the same thing. MPAC states that by working with the FBI will itself protect the civil liberties of Muslims. And it will help change the viewpoint that the FBI has on Islam and Muslims. In addition, the MPAC recommends basically imams to be aware of whoever enters and leaves their institutions based on suspicious behavior. It states that this is not equivalent to spying. Rather, it's Muslims themselves having a justifiable act that is basically recommended in the Quran itself. MPAC also recommends mosques to have meetings on consistent basis with FBI and law enforcement if they decide to join one of their programs, the MPAC's anti-terrorism campaign. All we see from this organization is more cooperation with law enforcement that seems to have failed due to the Muslim community being targeted over and over and over again. I mean, here we go, another organization, pronounced ISNA. I've never been to any of the conferences, but they usually hold very, very large conferences. But I wanted to mention them for a little bit here, saying basically, they also have the same goals and objectives to basically get into civic engagements to really present Islam and present the Muslim community to the other parts of society. It wasn't until that's what their goals and objectives are. That's what they state they do. According to an article, basically online through IPT News, ISNA basically opted out of actually cutting ties with the FBI, even though informants who were sent by the FBI targeted mosques. In a press release, ISNA stated that the communication between law enforcement should remain open and that the FBI has the responsibility to protect its citizens and criminals, that the Americans have a legal and moral obligation to ensure the FBI fulfills its mandate. In addition, the president of ISNA, who one of the brothers mentioned before, is Mohammed Majid. He's also the executive director of Adam Center, who's known to be meeting with FBI officials in regards to providing briefings about radicalization, and it basically is the liaison to the government, reporting suspicious people attending his mosques, basically to the FBI as his maybe day job. During Ramadan, actually, for one of the 1 year, actually, the FBI actually funded an iftar at this Adam Center, basically in the all Dulles area Muslims community in Dulles, Virginia. And they funded these iftars to really engage with the Muslim community, to kind of build a relationship or whatnot. So keep that in mind, building these relationships, trying to collaborate, trying to do something for the ummah here or whatever. So according to the ACLU, the FBI these open programs, or these mosque outreach programs that they have, they were all utilized to spy on Muslims. The FBI defended itself, saying it was legal work because the scope was under an authorized law enforcement activity. The FBI was keeping records of conversations, activities taking place within the mosque or even within the Muslim organization. The data would be used as intelligence, would be uploaded to like an FBI intelligence database. The same FBI documents would have information related to like people that came to the mosque, basically how much financial support or how much financially they supported the mosque itself. Basically, even like what are their views on Islam? Like, are they political, or are they quiet, or do they talk at all? Like, even all that data. Therefore, by openly collaborating with the FBI, it doesn't actually change their viewpoint on Islam or the Muslims in general, or the Muslim community. As a Muslim, your rights, basically, our rights are violated every day, ever since it's been a post 9/11 world. I mean, we're the new boogeyman, whatever you want to say. Especially since the FBI, with its spying activities, have labeled the Muslim guilty until proven innocent. From the FBI reports itself, like 90% of terrorist attacks in America are associated with like non-Muslims. where almost all attacks labeled as terrorism involving a Muslim could not have been completed without the assistance of an actual FBI informant. This confirms that targeting of Muslims and the Muslim community by the FBI without any due process and providing the actual material support in order to justify that their war on terror. With the continuing harassment of the Muslim community. Therefore, this is what the FBI has been doing since these Muslim organizations have been cooperating. Nothing has changed. Instead, when the Muslims cooperate or collaborate, he or she are already guilty and being monitored for all their activities. These same organizations seem like they don't really stand up for the rights of Muslims and Islam, and instead their cooperation has made Muslims an easier target. It is time for the Muslims to stand up and speak with one voice, and it's clear that these Muslim organizations don't seem to care for the well-being of the Muslim community. Why don't we cut the ties with the FBI? Why are they, they're violating the rights that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us by enforcing this police state model on the Muslim community for terrorism that's not even possible without them intervening or without them even helping. Why is it that the Muslims have to be the ones that condemn the terrorism when clearly there are other groups as well as states sponsor terrorism through Western foreign policy that has massacred millions of innocent people in the name of the war on terror? Well, Muslims in America, it is our time to stand up for the truth and hold on to your identity. As you know, whatever view you have now will be targeted because you're a Muslim at the end of the day. That is why it is important to remind both Muslims and non-Muslims what Islam truly stands for. And what you see in the world today is not because of Islam, rather it is because of the Western foreign policy dictating the world. It is time for the Muslim organizations to cut their ties with the FBI and don't care about Muslims, cut their ties with the FBI. They don't care about Muslims or Islam. Rather, they're busy to spy and set up entrapment programs to further justify their yearly budgets for combating terrorism. The radicalization and extremism is associated with the tactics of the FBI along with the political agenda of American and the rest of the Western governments basically have orchestrated against the Muslims. This radicalization and extremism is not from Islam, but it's from the West itself. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.